Hello and welcome to Oh the Horror. I'm Fedora, and it was that time again, the year of 2011. And that means Dimension Studios was once again contractually obligated to make another Hellraiser movie, or risk losing the rights completely. So I guess they're just gonna rip off another unused script, right? Wrong! That's right! This is the first time since Hellraiser Bloodlines back in 1996 that an original Hellraiser movie was made! This is a great thing, right? I mean, surely original series creator Clive Barker would agree. Hey, let's see what he said about this movie.
I want to put on record that the flick out there using the word Hellraiser is no fucking child of mine. I have nothing to do with the fucking thing. If they claim it's from the mind of Clive Barker, it's a lie. It's not even from my butthole.
Ouch! Okay, with a slight feeling of trepidation, this is Hellraiser Revelations.
First, let's have a quick peek at the cover. That thing there, that is not Doug Bradley.
Yes, Doug Bradley, the man who'd looked at Hellworld and said, I want a piece of that, took one look at the script for this movie and flat out turned it down. This is gonna hurt, isn't it?
So this movie starts on a handycam being held by these two douche noodles named Nico and Stephan, on their way to the Mexican border for a trip for what everyone goes to Mexico for.
We're about to get laid multiple times over.
Hey, yes! Donkey show in Tijuana! What? Tijuana!
And ooga booga to you too.
A couple of jerky transitions later, and now Nico is playing with the lament configuration. And upon solving it, not Pinhead very suddenly appears.
Who the fuck are you? What do you want?
Duck box.
What? Take it. It's yours. Just get the fuck out of here.
Ow! Oh, God, we're 3 minutes in and already the acting is causing me physical harm!
Not Pinhead continues to ramble on for a while Stephan films the scene. Stephan, of course, being a true cinematographer, making sure to pan across occasionally to Nico for reaction shots so as not to bore the viewer. The viewer in this case, of course, being Stephan's mother, who is watching the scene on her son's video camera after what we can assume was his and Nico's grisly deaths.
But this is the third time I found you looking at it. Can I see?
It's nothing.
Whatever. Dad said to come get you. He just buzzed the Bradleys in.
I'll be right there.
Good! Get Doug in here and offer him money galore! We can still salvage this movie!
So apparently it's been a year since then, and the two families of Stephan and Nico are having a nice cheery dinner together. But the conversation soon turns to the missing boys, and why the families, Stephan's mother most of all, avoid talking about them. But unknown to them, they are being listened to by Not Pinhead.
Sympathy and kindness towards her brother instead of worrying about herself the whole time.
You know, save the shrink talk for your clients, Dad.
Arguing always gets me so worked up. I need to take a nice hot shower.
Glorious.
Nah, the daughter, whose name is Emma, is pissed off about not being allowed to watch the video camera footage, so she storms off to her brother's room and starts watching the video camera footage. Well, that was easy.
Here we go. To Tijuana! Tijuana! That's right, okay.
Wait, is she seeing this? Who shot that footage?
Hey, Mr. DJ.
This video goes on to show Nico, who is Emma's boyfriend by the way, dicking around with some Mexican prostitute. And this of course causes Emma to break down into tears and shut off the camera. But apparently the footage is still going. So I guess this is a flashback now?
She okay? Hey. What did you do?
What the fuck did you do? I didn't do anything. It was a total accident, okay?
Like, oh my god!
The flashback ends with Nico keeping the video camera to blackmail Stephan into keeping quiet about his bloody antics. And then Emma finds something else. The lament configuration. So while the parents continue to talk about the boy's disappearance, and are still being spied on by not Pinhead, seriously, what is his deal? Emma takes the box outside and begins to open it, when suddenly...
Guys, it's Stephen!
The families lay the delirious, blood-covered Stephen on the couch and try to call for an ambulance, but of course...
You on the way?
No, phone's not working Wednesday. Try my cell?
No signal, that's why we keep a landline.
Yes, and of course you live in complete seclusion.
Neighbors, maybe? 4 miles.
I'm gonna have to drive them.
And of course the cars aren't going to start.
Or are missing entirely. Huh, touché. So with nothing else to do until morning, the families bunk down, just in case whoever took Stephen is waiting out there for them.
You really think someone's out there? Do you have a gun? Yeah.
What?
Well, this is America.
Of course he had a gun. This is Texas. Everybody has a gun. My florist has a gun.
So after another quick shot of not Pinhead just standing around again, we then see him sticking pins in the head of a new Cenobite, who looks a bit like a roast ham.
Kleenex.
Very stupidly, Emma starts playing with the lament configuration again, which results in a small earthquake that seemingly teleports Stephen outside. Upon approaching him, he then tells everybody how he and Nico came upon the box via another flashback.
Whoa, we're not looking for any new friends, amigo. Comprende?
Well, seems to me you could use a friend right now.
Yeah, I really hit hard times after I failed my Batman audition.
Beardy McGee hands the box over to Nico after a very long and very awkward "it's better than sex" speech.
Better than sex.
Oh, sex has limits. This will take you beyond the limits. Sensual pain. How can we taste the truly sweet without a little bit of the sour?
Which leads into the scene we saw at the beginning of the film, where it ends with Nico being taken by the Cenobites. Stephen escapes, somehow, and then goes on to beat another prostitute to death?
Change gear, change gear, change gear, check your mirrors, murder a prostitute, change gear, murder, check your... That's a lot of effort in a day.
After this, we see the skinless Nico arise from the bed. Like the original Hellraiser with Uncle Frank, drinking the blood of people can restore the flesh of someone who has escaped from the Cenobites. Only problem with this is, Uncle Frank came back to life because his heart was still in the house where he died, and that gave him something to cling to. I seriously doubt a part of Nico is buried somewhere in that prostitute's mattress. After explaining everything, Stephen passes out again and is taken to his bed. Then oh, come on!
He just finished explaining what happens when you open that thing, you dumb shit!
So, after thankfully being relieved from puzzle box duty, Emma takes some soup up to her brother, and the two begin to catch up.
The whole world out there, Emma. A whole world of experiences. You just have to reach out and touch them. You've grown up so much. You're so beautiful.
You know, it seriously disturbs me how often I've been able to make this joke on this show.
Incest in the morning. Suppressed memories. 97.1.
After Beardy McGee randomly appears and kills off Nico's dad, Stephen then shows another bit of odd behaviour by taking a gun and shooting his own dad in the stomach. Jeez, pashing his sister, killing his father. Seems Stephen has been taking some notes from Commodus from Gladiator.
If they don't respect me, how can they ever love me?
Then we get the flashback that explains Stephen's strange behaviour. It turns out Stephen isn't Stephen. He is in fact Nico, wearing Stephen's skin. It seems after escaping the Cenobites, Stephan was helping to restore Nico by killing prostitutes for the blood, and then Nico bashed Stephan's head in and stole his skin, the same way that Uncle Frank stole the skin of Kirsty's father from the original Hellraiser.
For all this movie's goofy problems, it's definitely holding up on its end on the source material.
And Nico's final plan to escape the Cenobites is to get Emma to summon them and offer her soul in exchange for his own. So after forcing her at gunpoint to open the box, not Pinhead and the Cenobites appear, including the other Pinhead, which it turns out is the real Stephan. Does this affect the plot at all? No. Continue.
You have a darkness that rivals my own, Nico.
And that source material knowledge suddenly means dick all to me as soon as this guy opens it.
What you think of as pain is only a shadow. Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
So anyway, now that the Cenobites are here, Nico makes his trade offer. And...
Trade? No.
But...
No.
But I...
No.
If you just...
No.
Shit.
Quick, offer him some rare Pokemon cards instead!
But before Not Pinhead can take Nico to hell for an eternity of torture, Stephan's dad shoots him. Why?
We had all we desired. Our appetite was sated. And the eternity of suffering he would have experienced at our hands would have been more vengeance for you than you can possibly imagine. Now there is a deficit of flesh. Debt is outstanding.
I heard mention of some rare Pokemon cards.
Nah, instead they just take his wife. Yeah, great move, buddy. Now not only have you condemned your beloved to everlasting agony, but now that you're dead too, your daughter is now an orphan. Awesome!
So now that that's all over, I'm sure Emma's going to be out of there in a heartbeat. Probably go to a hospital or something, maybe the police. You are a fucking idiot! And that was Hellraiser Revelations.
I want to hate this movie. I want to rip on all its faults and tear it to absolute shreds. But it's a real Hellraiser movie. The acting is some of the worst that I've ever seen, but it's a real Hellraiser movie. And that awful Pinhead does nothing the entire movie and can't even hold a candle to Doug Bradley, but it's a real Hellraiser movie. And you can tell that the director did have a lot of love for the original material. I just feel like if he had an actual budget, a more aired out script, and actors with any iota of talent, this might have been something half decent. Instead, it's just a painful glance of potential wasted.
And that's all we have time for tonight. So, I'm Fedora. This is Oh the Horror. Save a screen from me. We'll see you next time. I need to relax a bit now. I think I'll go take a quick shower.
Glorious.
Oh, fuck off, you pervert!
I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me.